How are you doing today? Thank you for coming to the studio.
Thank
It's getting hot out. Are you doing okay? How's the LA summer treating you so far?
I actually like it when it's really warm. I mean, I don't like it Palm Springs warm, but I like it.
I was in Palm Springs for Father's Day, like 2 weeks ago or something? It was hot. My dad lives out there. Yeah.
He lived out there.
Since like 2008, I think. So I'd never been to Palm Springs before he moved out there. And then, yeah, I've been going regularly to visit him. And then now I live in LA, so I try to go out and see him when I can. But it was like roasting hot. It's a hot summer destination.
Imagine what it's like playing tennis at the 110, 115 degrees.
Yeah, so he's a big golfer, and they say he has to, you have to tee off before 7 a.m. to make sure you're finished by 10 so you don't melt. So it's pretty good. He loves it though. So it's nice to go out and see him from time to time. Yeah. And then sometimes I go to Morongo after and do a little gambling.
Yes. We always do that when we go out there.
Yeah.
So, tennis and gambling.
So, I met with Rich and did a nice podcast with Rich, and he said, like, I needed to meet you. You are like the tennis hub and spoke of Beverly Hills in Los Angeles, and you've been playing tennis your whole life, and you got lots of great stories. So I figured, why not?
Yeah, I actually started playing when I was in my 30s,
Mm-hmm.
and I was told by a doctor that I needed to lose weight and be healthier. And what ended up happening was that I tried several different sports, from jogging to swimming to going for private training at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated everything. I hated working out. And then I found tennis.
Wow. So you were late to the game.
Very late to the game. And I was a big girl. I was about 60 pounds heavier than I am now. I'm 5'6". I was about 200 pounds.
And what do you think it was about tennis that just kind of grabbed you? I mean, it seems like you had tried many things at the time, but what was it about the magical game of tennis?
I'm not going to lie, the outfits were attractive. So that was the first thing. I thought, oh, they wear such cute clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a bit of a fashionista, but then, oops, sorry.
No worries.
But then the next thing was the combination of having to use your brain and then use your body and be clever and play with people and against people. The challenge of it was just so exciting.
Mm-hmm. And was it doubles or singles that caught your interest early?
At the beginning, I couldn't get the ball over the net and in the court, so I just took lessons. And then I played singles at the beginning, and then I ventured into doubles. And my love for the game is doubles only, mixed doubles with, when a man and a woman play together, and same-sex doubles where it's two women, in my case, that play together.
Amazing. So I got into tennis. I love talking with people about tennis because I got into tennis really early. My mom loved tennis, so I think I had a racket when I was like 4 or 5. And then I was playing a little bit competitively, but then I got caught up in other sports. I ended up playing basketball at the university level, so I went in that direction. But I've had about 7 or 8 years of my life where I was a ball boy for the Canadian Open in Toronto, which is where I grew up. So I got to ball boy for like Agassi, McEnroe, Lendl, Boris Becker. That was kind of that generation, that like early 90s. And I got to like meet these incredible athletes and players, and I got to be around the game in that way. So I've loved it ever since, but never really spent enough time really playing it, sadly.
It's definitely my only sport. It's my only love. So the other extracurricular activities are things like playing cards or cooking. So tennis is my only sport.
Yeah. So where are you from originally, though?
My parents are Iranian Jews, and they started leaving the country in the 60s. And then I was born in 73 in Bath, England, which is the southwest of England. But my father's family was in England, and my mother's family was living in LA. So father's family in Bath, mother's family in Beverly Hills, and I actually kind of lived in both countries growing up.
Yeah. Do you remember Iran at all?
I was there for a little bit, but no, I don't remember it. I have photographs, and they don't jog a memory or anything like that. But Iran in those days was beautiful.
It was amazing.
Yeah, my family was successful. They lived a very European lifestyle. They wore the mini skirts. The Hilton Hotel was kind of like a Ritz-Carlton, and it was gorgeous. And my parents' wedding, there were 1,000 people there and everybody was dressed in the most beautiful wares. It was completely different from what it seems to be like now. So.
Yeah. I first went to Iran in 2002, and then I went back in 2004, and then I think I went back again in like 2006 or 7, and obviously it had changed a lot, from the 60s and 70s or 79, before 79, but I had a really wonderful time, and I love the country, and I got a chance to travel around, photograph it, and explore some of the amazing history and things like that, and it's really remarkable. It's too bad that it's not open for everyone to see, and it's had such kind of a brutal last 40 plus years of history, because it really is much more than people think it is.
Yeah, I definitely love the hospitality that comes from that culture and the food, and so I would love to go there, but I don't think I feel safe at the moment.
No, yeah, much safer here in Los Angeles, right? trying. But it's amazing how many Iranian people left in the 70s and came to LA. Like Westwood, yeah, all around UCLA. There's a huge Iranian population, and some great restaurants all in that neighborhood. It's got to be one of the bigger populations of Iranian people outside of Iran. Has to be LA, right?
I think it's the largest, and then I think New York is the second largest, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But definitely, Los Angeles is known as Tehrangeles. I don't know if you've heard that before.
I've never heard that. That's hilarious. Yeah, yeah, that makes good sense. Yeah. I mean, so what was it like growing up between Beverly Hills and Southern England? I mean, with the two families, like that must have been quite adventurous in your early days.
Yeah, it was definitely night and day. If you can imagine, in England, I was attending boarding schools with uniforms such as ties and knee-length navy blue skirts. Anybody who works with me in my boutique knows that I hate navy blue, and the reason is probably because of the boarding schools. Very stifling, very strict. And then, I come here and I go to American schools, which are much more fun and open. For instance, in England, when the teacher walked in, I would stand up and say, "Good morning, Mrs. Wheels," and then sit down. We didn't have pagers in the classroom and things like that. Then I came to Beverly Hills High School, and it was an entirely different experience. When the teacher came in and everyone just continued talking, it was a completely different culture. So I learned to become adaptable and be able to live in different types of boundaries and etiquette and rules, etc., and just be flexible with it.
Yeah, like a true global citizen.
Yeah, I feel like a global citizen. I did live in many different cities in America and also in many different countries. I lived in south of France with my mother when I was about 3 or 4 years old as well. So it's been interesting bringing all the cultures together in one place in Los Angeles, because here we have Chinatown and we have Koreatown, and so I get to experience things like Korean massage, which is something that I probably wouldn't have been exposed to if I lived in a place where there weren't sort of a great population of Persians, Koreans, Chinese, and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, LA is a real melting pot. It's funny, I've only been living here really since last year, like December. So I'm only like 6 or 7 months into my LA journey, but I'm loving it. It is a very multicultural place, and apart from there is a lot of violence and stuff here, but for the most part, people get along, and it's quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's the problems of every city, but I would say that Beverly Hills is known for being so fancy and so posh, and for sure we get famous people coming into my boutique, but I live in Beverly Hills, about 6 blocks from my boutique, and it's a very peaceful small town where everybody kind of knows your name, and the little grocery store on the corner, the chap's had it shown for decades, and everyone kind of knows each other, and it's very quiet and peaceful. It's not the glitz and glamour maybe when people come in to Rodeo Drive and they walk up and down and they go shopping. That's just a small slice of what it's like to live here.
Yeah, the touristy bit.
Yes.
So how old were you when you decided to live in Beverly Hills full time? Because it sounded like you were kind of going back and forth for a bit. So when did you actually move here?
So I guess I was in my early 20s. My family that I lived in when I was in high school, they had a house on Maple and Sunset, 723 North Maple Drive. It's just a few blocks away from where we're sitting right now. And so I moved back in with my grandparents and got a job and started working. And I just I love America, love Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills and Bath, England are very similar. They're tourist places. They're very clean. In Bath, England, everything's limestone. The buildings, the architectural committee is very strict. Same in Beverly Hills. You can't just put signs up and neon things sticking out. The architectural committee is very strict here too. They're very clean cities. So when I decided where I was going to live for the rest of my life,
which is a huge decision to make.
it's massive. And I'm so blessed that I could have also moved to Israel. I have family there. I could have also moved to other countries. But for me, Bath and Beverly Hills are my two homes. It was a big decision to make, but America's such a great country for me. And Beverly Hills is so safe and beautiful. And it just, when there's something that just feels like home, it feels like home here for me.
Yeah. It's actually just really nice. Like one of the things that I've figured out living where I live, which is very close to where you lived as well, but it's amazing how much I can walk and how people are like, oh, you live in LA, but you don't drive, or you don't have a car, you don't sit in traffic, and it's just like, no, like I found a place, it's in the middle of where I wanted to be, and I can kind of walk everywhere. And this neighborhood is such a nice walking town. And you're right, it's so clean and easy and relatively safe. So it's that was really surprising to me, because I thought like, oh my God, I'm going to move to LA. I'm going to be like living in my car all the time and stuck in traffic all the time. But actually, if you have the chance to plan things a little bit, and you don't have to worry about school districts or extra bedrooms and things like that, you can kind of live in a place where you can walk quite a bit. It's like a little village. I love it.
Yeah, it's exactly the same for me. So when I moved out of my grandparents' house, I lived 2 blocks down from where we are now on Doheny. Mm. And I got used to that. Dry cleaners was right opposite me. The grocery store was right opposite me. And so now I live on Crescent, which is exactly the same. Whole Foods is right opposite me. I can get my nails done, my hair done, everything I can walk to. Even my boutique is 1 block away from Rodeo on Brighton Way. And so, yeah, I don't really need a car. It's really small town living, I feel like.
I love that. I think that's how you win, right? Because, for the people out there that don't have a choice, or for the people out there that, have chosen to have bigger homes further from the city, or whatever the decision making was, like, but then to spend that hour in the car each way, sometimes it's a lot. I think you're winning when you can kind of walk to all your basic needs and walk to work. It's the best.
Yeah, I used to be a professional poker player, and
Oh my God, really? Hold on, we're gonna have to talk about that. You can't just slip something in like that and expect me not to catch it.
Yeah, every decision I make has, the whole algorithm is in there, and the pluses and minuses, and yes, not being in the car for 2 hours a day, the financial, the environmental, the time, the stress, the sitting in a chair like that, not being able to get up and move around. It was a non-negotiable for me.
Okay, so when did you start playing poker?
So I started playing poker, it must have been 1997. Mm-hmm. I had a friend who was a poker player, and so I used to sit and watch, and I played cards as a kid. We played gin rummy and things like that when I was growing up.
And was this in Beverly Hills, where you were in 97 in Beverly Hills? So was this that time where that Molly lady had her game going? Did you just see that Molly's? Yeah.
Yeah. But she wasn't she in New York?
She was here first, and then got into trouble, and then ended up there, and then also got into trouble. So, okay. But I watched that movie the other day. I can't remember. Molly's Game is what it. Game. And it just reminded me that you were playing poker. Maybe you were in one of her games.
Yeah, no, I wasn't in her games. I'm a very follow the rules kind of person. I don't do sort of illegal things, and that was underground. And if you get caught, you get arrested. I'm even when I play tennis and everything I do. With my business, I'm very straight-laced. I don't like people to break rules, and stuff. So, I definitely didn't play with her, but I played in some tournaments, and I played mostly cash games. And then when I played in a tournament in 2002, they had just started filming it, I think.
Yeah.
So I was bored out of my mind because I was used to cash games. And in cash games, the blinds don't go up on you. So you can just wait for good hands. Well, in tournament poker, you have to take more risks and be more, what's it called when?
Aggressive.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm much more of a conservative person. So I did actually, I did compete in my first tournament in 2002, and it was televised. And I was on the final table, 538 people entered, and I was on the final table with these greats that I had no idea who they were. Lane Flack, Johnny Chan, all these people that are champion tennis players, Phil Ivey and things. So that was quite funny.
You were playing with tennis players, or you're poker players. These were famous poker players. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to the final table in your first tournament?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Yesterday I was just chatting with this guy, Johnny, and he worked at the World Poker Tour, and he was in charge of the filming and television and then the distribution of the games, because they would take those tournaments and turn them into 1-hour TV things, and he was in charge of that. So yesterday I was also talking about poker.
So I don't know if you know the Van Pattens.
I've heard of the Van Pattens, yes.
Okay, so they are a big tennis family and a movie family, and Vince used to be one of the
MCs?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
for those TV shows.
Oh, really? He was one of the hosts?
Yes,
Okay.
the hosts. When I was back playing those days, that's when he was a host. And so now, Nels and Vince live just across over the hill, and they have 2 tennis courts at their house and on the property of their dad's property. And the 2 tennis courts, Nels, the brother, still teaches tennis, and Vince has his house on Airbnb, and he rents out his house out with a tennis court. And I heard that Naomi was there for 6 months, I think, preparing for this tour.
Oh, wow. Seriously? That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 second,
We're sweating a little under the lights. Hot flash.
Yeah, hot flashes.
Have some water. Have some water. No worries. Camera's on me. We're all good. We're all good. Yeah, this is the one that people see. And then this is you. So now I switch back to you.
You look younger in person than because I watched a little bit of your other ones, and I was like, I thought you were older.
Yeah, I just had a haircut. So and I shaved a little, so that can help. If my beard goes too long, it goes quite gray now, and then of course, just having a haircut helps a little bit as well. So, okay, so I mean, did you give up after that first poker match, or did you keep going?
I played for about 10 years. I played poker while I was doing I'm a serial entrepreneur. I also worked for corporate America for a while too as a commercial banker. But yeah, I kept playing, and every once in a while I play, probably once or twice a year I'll play. It's really fun for me.
Yeah. I mean, is it a income earning thing? Like, are you looking like, are you winning money all the time playing, or would you play more if you could win more money?
No, it becomes a job when you're playing for winning money, playing every day, and when you're not playing for fun, when you're playing just to win, you don't drink. You have to make sure you're very zen when you're playing. You don't have emotions going up and down because it affects your decision making. You have to be very in tune with your gut and your intuition. So if you want to win, you have to be very disciplined. So now if I play, it's just for fun. So I'll have a drink and I'll enjoy it. It's not going to be serious for me. But yes, when I was playing for making my income, I had to be very disciplined.
Wow. So you were a banker and a poker player, and now you're a tennis boutique owner in Beverly Hills. What else have you done in there that we missed?
I reclaimed glass that was from commercial buildings and made glass art pieces, green glass art pieces. They're very pretty. So I tack fused them in a kiln, and I sold those. A chocolatier, I owned chalkbite.com, which you designed your own chocolate bar online, and then I made it for you and then delivered it to you, and that was really fun. I was a contractor, Stone Decor and More, where at the beginning I did granite countertops and bathroom tile, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Did you exit any of these businesses, or are they still going?
I have Chalkbite. I haven't sold it because I don't know. I love it. I still have the equipment and the molds and everything. So but I sold the construction business. I still have, my glass art pieces and my kiln. Yeah, I have difficulty letting go of things.
And it seems like you like to do many different things at the same time.
Yeah. But this particular business, this boutique,
Your tennis boutique.
Yes,
Yeah.
tennis boutique. It's called Love Tennis. I design the tennis clothes. I manufacture the tennis clothes. I run the boutique. I do the accounting. I do the marketing. I do the relationship building. I make custom items for high-end clients. So I'm very busy now. So I'm not doing the glass art or anything like that on the side at the moment.
So the tennis stuff's keeping you fully busy. Yeah. And do you ever go out to Indian Wells to watch the tournament out there?
Worse.
Mhm.
We call it the fifth major. It's not really known as a major, but Tommy Haas lives in Westwood actually, and he is the director out there.
Uh-huh.
And that is the most magical tennis tournament because you're closer to the players. It's got a very fun culture to it. It's extremely friendly. The players there are reachable and touchable, and you talk to them. And yeah, it's my favorite tournament apart from the one that's coming up on Monday. So,
Which is Wimbledon.
done. Please don't say ton.
Wimbledon.
Done.
Done.
D-O-N.
D-O-N.
Wimbledon.
Wimbledon.
Say it again.
Wimbledon.
No.
Wimbledon.
Yes. Wimbledon. That's so American. I'm surprised you're Canadian. You still said it.
It's terribly, I suppose. But no, that's a brilliant tournament. It's I've never been actually. That's one of my. I really would love to be out there for one of these rounds. I haven't been to any of the majors. I actually went to the U.S. Open a few times in New York, and that was fun. But I would really like to go to the French Open and go to London. And go to Melbourne too. Going to Melbourne for the Australian Open would be amazing.
Yeah, I think next year I'm probably going to do Australia, and I haven't done that one yet. So
Yeah. It's fun to travel around and like be a fan of tennis, I think, because it's such a multicultural game. There's so many players from different parts of the world, and then there's tournaments all around. It's really something quite special.
I'm a tennis evangelist because of the things that I gained because of the sports. I mean, I told you I lost the weight, so my health was number one. Number two, I didn't really have relationships with women before because I was in male-orientated businesses and, I was an owner or working in commercial banking. So I don't have any children, so I didn't have the mommy and me situation. So I developed this massive network of wonderful women. And then I met my husband on the tennis courts.
Oh.
And it's just been great for business, in every area. And so I'm like obsessed with the sport. And many people who played tennis as a kid or picked it up older, like they're still playing in their 80s. I have clients in their 90s still playing doubles. So it's just this beautiful sport. It's social, it's fun, it's healthy, but it's also a great networking sport where people meet each other either for friendship or for business or for marriage. It's a wonderful, wonderful sport.
Yeah, and it seems much more accessible, I think, than golf too. Like a lot of people would say the same things about golf, but I also feel like golf is pretty male dominated, and it's just doesn't seem as accessible financially maybe as tennis, even though tennis is quite an expensive sport to get good at if you want to take the lessons and everything like that. But I think once you have like a basic level of tennis, it's quite accessible. There's public courts everywhere. It's easy to organize, and people like Rich are trying to organize more, more kind of casual leagues and bring in more organization to the amateur game, which I think is great. So it feels like there's it feels like an easier place to reach.
Yeah, golf has a handicapping system, but basically, to be good at golf, you have to be in that handicapping system, which is one number. And tennis is very different in that way. We have this grading system that's set by the United States Tennis Association, also known as USTA, and they have an NTRP rating. It's like a player rating. And so when I started out, I was a 2.5, which is rubbish, So I was able to play with other 2.5s and 3.0s, and then I got better and better because I did invest the time and the money to be better at the sport. So when I became 3.0, then 3.5, then 4.0, and now I'm 4.5, which is an advanced level player, I get to play with people and compete against people that are my level, which is something that is kind of unique in a sport. Because normally if you want to play a sport with other people, you have to, they have to be good at the sport. In tennis, you can play with other rubbish people,
Yeah.
There's
You just smash them.
Yeah, there's also live ball, and I don't know if you've heard of the most amazing sports that is, it's like taking the competitiveness of real tennis matches, such as tournaments or leagues, and then taking the fun of live ball and putting it together. There's a chap in town who has devised a brand new invention, which is called time ball, which adds the fun of what pickleball does, the music and that, but also the competition of keeping the points, so they keep your time. And then they you're still hitting tennis balls, but there's no serving and all the stuff that slows the game down. There's none of that. So
Okay.
time ball is fantastic as well. And Rich has Conga Sports, and he's doing very fun things. And in tennis, you can do ladies' leagues, mixed leagues, singles. There's Los Angeles Tennis Association, which started as a gay and lesbian sort of league, but everyone is welcome, and they have different events every week. They have morning events or weekend events. And then, of course, there's wonderful tournaments. Michael Chang, who's an amazing, ex-professional tennis player, he throws a tournament every year, and I play in it. My husband and I play in it in Newport Beach Tennis Club. So there's, high-level competition at that tournament, but there's also medium and lower level. So you can play wherever you're at. So it's a fantastic sport.
I ball boyed for Michael Chang.
You did?
Yeah, that was my era. That mid to early to mid 90s when he was coming through the ranks and being just a wonder kid. I remember how fast he was. He was amazing, wasn't he?
He's still amazing.
Yeah.
So he donates money to his Christian charity from the foundation. So we actually we're able to play with him on center court. So I have video of playing against him and just being able to hit with him. He's just a fantastic human. His whole family, his mother, his wife, his kids, everybody is involved with this tournament every year. So I got to meet everybody, and they're just so generous and kind and authentic and loving and great tennis players.
The most important part. But I mean, like, when did you decide to take tennis from being a hobby where you met, other wonderful women and your husband? When did you decide to like turn it into your business and actually start designing tennis clothes, designing tennis necklaces like the one you're wearing today, and everything else? Like, when did that decide to? It's almost like you decided to turn your hobby into your life.
Yes, I actually met my husband when I was 40 years old, and I said to him, I was a commercial banker at the time. I said, we're not going to have kids at this stage, and so, how much money do we really need? So we have a simple life, my husband and I. No children, no animals. There's no responsibilities, so to speak. You just have to pay your house and pay for your car and some food, and that's about it.
Sounds like a lovely life.
It's just so free and fantastic. I'm going to be honest with you. So I said to him, I want to do something in tennis. I want to be involved in tennis somehow. And I can teach tennis, but I don't want to be on a court all day long, in the elements. So I was trying to think of something, and I thought, I want a really beautiful tennis dress that fits my body. I'm not skinny, and I'm not straight, and I'm rounded. And so a lot of the designers in the tennis field are young people that are right out of fashion school. So if you think of these big brands that Adidas, Fila, Lululemon, etc., the people who are designing the clothes aren't typically a woman, over 40 years old. They're typically young women, or men sometimes.
It's crazy how many men are designing women's clothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, being a man, but as a woman, and a woman that is curvy, as you age, the lines are supposed to go down. So the dress line of the bust line, which is the largest area of my body, 40 inches, it used to be 2 inches higher. So it's 2 inches lower now. And so especially when you're playing sports, you don't want things to be ill-fitting because you don't play as well. You're fiddling with your clothes and pushing things around. So it
would be incredibly distracting.
Very distracting. And the fabrics were itchy. For me, I have very soft skin. I have very thin skin. So the fabrics were kind of itchy, and women tuck the tennis ball into their shorts. I didn't like that. So there was all sorts of problems with the tennis attire. So now I had gone from 2.5 to 4.5, which is, I'm a high-level player now, and I want to be extra cute. So I designed my first dress, and it was called the Monroe.
Did you take a clothing design class? Did you have to get any kind of certification, or did you just be like, I'm going to make this happen?
I'm going to give props to my mother and my father here, okay? So my mother owned a store on Cannon Drive in Beverly Hills when I was, 7, 8 years old. It was called Adeline, which is my name, Adeline. And she sold tennis clothes for children. Not tennis. Did I say tennis clothes?
You did.
She sold children's clothes And they were Italian, and they were exquisite, and they were expensive, and it was fantastic. So my mother is very artistic. I did not get that gene as far as drawing or being able to design like that, but I think I got the images in my head. I'm able to see something in my head. So that's my mother. My father is a serial entrepreneur. He's got restaurants and nightclubs and real estate, and I think he owned a Ferrari dealership for a while, and he's missing that gene that goes, I can't do it. And I am also missing that gene.
Yeah, that sounds familiar, actually, given our conversation already. Yeah.
Yeah. See what I just don't, I don't think I need to go to school to learn something. I'm like, I'll figure it out. So now I do make lots of mistakes, but I don't let the mistakes define me. I let the growth define me. I let the learning define me instead. So what happened was I just thought I'll make one for myself. That's what I thought.
A prototype.
A prototype. And I made this dress, and to tell you that it was perfect, I mean, and I would say that I'm also lucky because I'm living in a place where the fabric stores are nearby, 8 miles away, Beverly Hills to downtown. There are lots of people sewing and manufacturing, pattern making. We've got the Fashion Institute here.
Oh, I didn't know LA had a Fashion Institute.
We do.
Yeah.
So I've got, if I was living out in the sticks somewhere in Oklahoma, I wouldn't have probably been able to do it as easily. So I went to downtown, and it took me 2 years to find the fabric. I even went to Italy, and because I wanted a fabric that was very compression-y, that holds you, but not hot. So if the fibers are too close together, you'll sweat. It's really hot.
It needs to be breathable, right?
It needs to be breathable. But I didn't want it to be loosey-goosey like some of my other people, that what I was wearing was either scratchy or too loose. And when you're older, you wobble a bit. So I want it to hold you a little bit, right? But not choke you. And then the other thing about it was it needed to be 4-way stretch. So I could serve and hit a ground stroke. Serve, because you go up and down when you serve and hit overheads.
That's right. Because, when you serve, you're stretching like that. And then when you're hitting ground strokes, you're stretching like that. I never thought of that.
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah.
And then there's another thing that's really important, which is smell. And this is going to be a weird thing.
No, but smell is crucial, because some materials, when you sweat in them, it turns into a dumpster. It's just, well, I trek and climb mountains all around the world. So I will put on a shirt like this, and I will hike up a mountain for 12 hours in it. And at the end of 12 hours, a high quality shirt will be dry because it whisks away your sweat, and then it's also breathable. And it won't smell like garbage. But if you get bad quality stuff, it scratches you, it itches you. And then when you get to the top of a mountain, you want to take it off and burn it because it smells like a dumpster heap, right? So I totally get that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are an expert. So
not at tennis, but other things, yes. But hiking and climbing and the right clothes, I totally understand where you're coming from.
Super, super important. So you're very fit, so you can wear thinner stuff. I couldn't wear something that thin and have the compression that I need as well. So it was kind of taking everything I needed and just designing the dress. And the pièce de résistance was the dry ball pocket on the back of the dress, which let's see if I can show you on camera.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You've got a little net on the back. Yeah. Mm.
So.
And that's where you put the ball that you're not serving with, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And typically you tuck it into your shorts, which makes the ball wet. Also, you have a dirty ball tucked into your leg, which I don't like. Also, it ruins the line of the dress because the ball is hanging out on the side of your.
And it's just not comfortable. Yeah.
Comfortable, it can fall out, and you can't keep 2 balls plus the one you're serving with. My pockets hold both balls plus the one you're serving it with, so you don't need to have your partner hold your ball for you.
Right, because you play without ball boys.
That's right, because I'm not that good.
You just kicked me out of a job. Yeah. I remember back in the day. What was it? Serena Williams. She would only take like 1 ball at a time. So a lot of the female players, they would only take 1 ball at a time because they didn't like putting it up their skirt, and they didn't have a little net on the back like yours. So they would just take 1 ball at a time. And as a ball boy, you're standing at the back, fall to miss a serve, and then they need another one. So it kept you on your toes. Whereas the men, they just take 2. They take 3 or 4, pick the 2 they like, and then throw the back, and then put 1 in their pocket, and then they just go. So that was a big difference between the men's game and the women's game from a ball boy perspective.
Yeah, my husband is very handsome, and I design men's clothes as well. And so he also has one on each side for the ball because I don't like it. I don't like seeing the ball in the men's shorts on the front, but also when they're running around, it's like bouncing around everywhere. It looks ridiculous.
Yeah, and it can fall out too, right? And then, of course, if you step on it, it's quite dangerous.
Yes, it's dangerous, and also they can call let and finish the point and all that. So there's a million reasons. So I made the Monroe. I made it in black, my favorite color.
So the dress is called the Monroe.
It is.
For Marilyn?
Yes. Because she was
Fair enough, yeah.
shapely, she wasn't a tiny little lady. She was shapely. She was sultry. She was sexy. She wasn't just...
A stick figure.
Exactly. No Heidi Klum,
Yeah.
So I just wore it and I just played. And it was so comfortable and it was wonderful. And people started asking me, is that a cocktail dress? What is that? So we coined the term court to cocktails. And that's what my collection is called, the Court to Cocktails Tennis Dress Collection.
And how many dresses have you designed thus far?
Oh, goodness. So one dress was designed by a client because I did a competition who designed the most beautiful dress. That one's called the Charmaine. But my dresses, I have the Monroe, the Angelina, the long sleeve Monroe, the Sandra D, the Sandra Me, and I have 4 that are Andrea and the Erica, and I have 2 more that are coming, which is the Cinderella and one that I haven't named yet.
And you can see all this on lovelove.com or lovelovetennis.com, like your boutique website?
Yes,
Yeah.
lovelovetennis.com doesn't have my full inventory on it, but it has one of each of them. But I like to serve the clients by having a virtual styling appointment. So you can call someone that's in my boutique and they'll do a video appointment with you, or better still, come visit Beverly Hills.
Yeah, why not visit Beverly Hills and can get properly fitted, right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, were you marketing any of this or were you just making stuff for yourself and then wearing it and then it just caught on because other women also felt like the clothes they were buying off the rack were shit?
That's exactly what happens. There wasn't anything like this. And women who were more shapely and women who wanted to look a little bit nicer on the court and women who more feminine, and women who wanted to be more comfortable and like the dry ball. They just asked me. And at the beginning, I just made one by one. I didn't do a whole production of them. So, they said they wanted a white one or a red one. And that's something I still do to this day. Because sometimes someone wants a design of their own, which I can make a custom piece for them, tailored to their body. Or they want a Monroe, but they want it in a color that I don't have in stock. But yes, it just slowly grew. I had little hats. My brand was originally called I Love My Doubles Partner, but everybody kept calling it I Love My Tennis Partner. And Love Tennis wasn't available at the time. And so I patiently, it was available, but it was 50,000 or something crazy.
That is crazy for a URL, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when you don't even have a business yet. So I started with I Love My Doubles Partner, aka ILMDP.com. And then I moved, I wrote a book called I Love My Doubles Partner, which is just a fun, inspirational book about being nice to your partner because they'll play better for you. And then I started designing the gold and diamond jewelry, again, for myself first,
And that is around your neck, that is a small little tennis racket there. So, yeah, we can see it. Maybe I can zoom in a little here. There we go. Oh, yeah. Great. Okay. Nice.
And then, I have bracelets. So everything I make, this is an example of the difference between me designing and somebody else. Okay, so this is just my logo. It's 2 rackets inside of a heart.
Oh, that's quite nice. That's cute.
It's cute, right? But here's the thing. On the other side, there's also a heart. The clasp is also a heart.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? But here's the thing. Usually with bracelets, I have to have somebody else put it on and take it off.
Yeah, it's so hard because they always have these little clasps. And if you have big thumbs or you have big hands and you just can't fit in there, it's really difficult.
Yeah. This one has a heart with a cupid going through it, like that.
Yeah.
And I can put it on and take it off myself, sort of thing. So that's the sort of differences with my designs and my competitors, so to speak. I don't really have a competitor. People call my brand the Gucci of tennis, but it's not as expensive as Gucci and it's not dry clean only. So
it's interesting though that the Filos of the world and the Adidases of the world and the Nikes of the world, weren't addressing this, this space to the liking of their clients. Like they weren't getting it done, right? And I guess they were making tennis clothes for the professional female tennis players who are all, 1% body fat and all 6 feet tall, right? And that's not every tennis player, because we've got, slews of amateurs from 5 years old to 70 years old that have all kinds of different body types. And none of these companies were catching on.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think there's been some collaborations that started to help, like the Stella McCartney Adidas shoes. That was a great collaboration that up-leveled the game a little bit, because the shoes made by the Stella McCartney shoes are so cute and gorgeous, whereas the regular ones were just basic. I think there's a market like me. I like to have an outfit that there aren't 5 million of them. I like to have something that's a little bit elevated in quality and style, but also not mass produced.
So it's a little bit of a showy thing when you hit the tennis court and you've got something that no one else can buy.
Yes, it kind of is.
That's quite cool. That's all right. I get that. But that was definitely one of the motivating factors.
Yeah, I wanted to have something a little bit more bespoke on my body, as well as the comfort and the style and all of that. I wanted something a little bit elevated. Tennis is such a beautiful sport.
And you had to make it yourself.
I did. It didn't exist, so I just made it myself.
I think Serena Williams I think really changed. This is from a male perspective, and this could be just horribly wrong, and I could get canceled for saying stuff like this. But let's just assume that I think like Serena Williams came into female tennis with a totally different body type than every single female tennis player. I think because she's my size. Like she's 6 feet tall. I'm 6'2". She's 6'2", I think. And she was incredibly muscular and but she's built differently, right? And obviously that helped, along with her skill and her perseverance, helped propel her to be one of the greatest female athletes of our era ever. But she came in with a totally, and I feel like the tennis clothing around the women's game changed drastically when she came in. I mean, have you ever looked into the stuff that Nike was making for her? Did that stuff ever appeal to you at all, or had you already begun making your own tennis clothing by that stage?
So Nike was custom making them for her, though.
Oh, really? So they weren't mass producing at that. Oh.
Not with that shape.
Oh.
There's
the rub.
There's the rub. So tennis dresses are particularly complicated. A skirt, you can get away with it because, if you're a size 8 on the bottom and a size 12 on top, you can mix and match with different tops. The dresses are where the problems were.
And the dress is the one piece with the skirt at the bottom and it's all connected. So yeah.
So if you're shapely, so for instance, Serena Williams is very small on the stomach area. I mean, she's very low body fat, but she's got thick legs and bum, if I can say that.
Yep.
So this, she could wear a smaller top and then bigger skirt, but the dresses, they custom made it for her because
because there's no one else built like her, I suppose.
I mean, we are.
Yeah.
We are built like her.
Yeah.
I mean, mine's more fat than muscle, but we're built like her, but they're not mass producing typically for people like me.
But that's great though that you had this initiative to make your own perfect tennis dress and to spend the time and energy. I mean, how long did it take before you when you were like, I'm going to do this on my own, and then you found the fabric, designed it, and then wore it onto a tennis court? How many months or years was that?
It was 3 years because the fabric took me a long time to find. I'm very picky, very picky in particular.
Can you tell me what kind of fabric it is? Is it a secret?
It's a secret.
Okay.
Because
I won't ask then. We can erase that or just not talk about it.
It's a very unique fabric that isn't being used for this purpose.
That's just part of the selling point, right? It's the mystique of it all.
Yeah. I mean, I had to source it and find it, and I tried everything. And of course, I went and played with it and smelled, and this one smelled, that one was too loose, this one was too tight, this one was too hot, this one. So everything that gets vigorously tested before I use it for something. And I've been, people are copying the pocket and this and that. And it doesn't matter because when you're the first to market with something, you're known for it, first of all. But also, they're several years behind me. So even they can't catch up because I'm moving forward. I'm consistently thinking of new ideas and new things. So they're always 2 steps behind me.
Are there a lot of boutique tennis clothing firms out there competing with you? We don't have to name names, but I'm just curious if there's a lot, beyond the mass, the Nikes and is there a lot of people doing what you're doing?
In the last, I would say,
I'm sorry, I'm totally ignorant about this. I have to ask these questions.
In the last 5 years, I would say yes. Millions of them.
Oh, really?
It's unbelievable. In London, in America, yes. Unbelievable.
Huh. Does being in Beverly Hills give you a little bit of cachet?
I think that being in Beverly Hills gives credibility to the quality because I wouldn't be able to have, I have a 3-floor boutique. It's a huge boutique. Many of the tennis professionals have come there and said, this is the most amazing boutique I've ever seen in my life.
I can't believe I haven't been. I'm sorry. It's on Cannon, right?
It's on Brighton.
Brighton. Okay.
1.5 blocks from Rodeo Drive.
Yeah, it's like the 10-minute walk from here.
We're going to go there right after.
Right after this. Yeah. I walk to Beverly Hills all the time because I like to walk in the evenings.
Mm-hmm.
So after I do a podcast like today, I'll go and I'll walk all through the beautiful homes and stuff like that, and end up down in Beverly Hills and have a drink, and then come home, and it's like a nice little outing. But I've probably walked past your boutique and just not paid enough attention. I apologize for that.
I don't think you could have missed it. There's a big carpet with hearts all over it on the floors of my logo. You would have noticed it, I think, if you had walked on Brighton. So.
Sure. And I mean, how important was the growth of your business connected to you being so active in the tennis community here in Beverly Hills and Los Angeles? Like, it seems like these two things were completely interconnected because it didn't seem like you were marketing too much. You were just wearing stuff and people just came up to you and said, hey, this is wonderful work and I get it. And then you basically had to tell them that you make them custom.
So it started like that, but I very quickly started actually doing events. I bought a 16-foot trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I would put 12 rails of clothes that I had made already in production. And then I would drag my husband up to San Francisco and we'd go to a tennis tournament for 3 days and sell my jewelry and my tennis bags and my tennis clothes at the tournaments for 3 days and then fill it all back up and drive it all the way back.
So was it easy to get advertised boutique space in the, because you're right, all the tennis tournaments, they all have these little villages of the shops, like the tennis rackets and everything. So you would rent one of those little boutiques and then put all your clothing in there?
We would typically either be outside or in the fancy clubs that had event spaces. We would be inside of the event space, and they would make money from either a 10% of whatever you sold, donated back to the charity.
Mm-hmm.
Most big tennis tournaments that are non-pro tennis tournaments are to raise money for charity. So the one I did was for, Service Champions, which is an AC company, but the money went for dog adoptions and things like that for the shelter. So yes, it was kind of it's hard work, but once you get there, it's really fun because you're in a beautiful country club and people love tennis and they're playing tennis and they're shopping, and it was a lot of fun, but it's an incredible amount of work.
It sounds like it. Like going to a tournament for 3 days, and those are 18-hour days, I know. And those places open at 8 a.m. and they close at 9 or 10 p.m. and you're there, talking to all those people. That's a lot of work, yeah.
And smiling the whole time. smiling. My face would hurt. And the thing about it is, though, I could not be where I am today in Beverly Hills if I hadn't done that work. Because seeing a woman try something on and say, oh, it's too far up in my armpit, or, oh, I got firsthand knowledge directly from my clients who play tennis, who love tennis, and who are over 40, how it fits them, what they think about it, just everything. So for 4 years, really, it was just research and development. So there was 3 years preparing for market, 4 years of research and development while I was selling, while I was doing it, but not really profiting because making a lot of mistakes with manufacturers in downtown, not checking their work, having mistakes happen because I didn't know what I was doing. So it was that 10,000 hours of college, basically, so I put my money into that, and my time instead of going to FIDM, for instance. And then once it was complete, now I have beautiful inventory that has been essentially designed originally by me, but perfected by my customers.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. That's a nice way to describe it. Designed by you, perfected by your customers. Yeah. I like that. So, I mean, how hard is it to create an inventory? And I'm guessing this is why Nike and Adidas and all the big companies haven't really attacked this market, the over 40 market or whatever, I mean, it must be hard to have inventory sitting, not knowing the kinds of body types that you're going to be dealing with. I think like men's clothing, I mean, even men's clothing, men come in all shapes and sizes too, but I just feel like women are much more aware of their clothes that they wear and how they feel. Men are kind of just throwing anything and are probably a little bit easier to deal with. But how hard is it to have that inventory and get and move it? Because it seems like the way you were doing it, you know, the custom angle, making custom dresses for your friends and people who would approach you was kind of like a safe starting point. But now that you're building inventory, you're investing in inventory, is it moving? Like, is it like a business where you can really move a lot of product?
Yes, I'm very small batch.
Okay.
So if I do a print, for instance, like this print that I'm wearing today, I'll only make 40 pieces per style, per size. And so it's very limited edition. And so I pretty much know that I'm going to sell out of something before I even make it.
Oh, wow. Well, that's great to know, right?
Yeah, it's really fun. And, you know, maybe I could make more and have some but I don't want to do that. So I just stick to my lane. My clients have the same taste as me. They're not people who wear navy blue and they wear pastels and they wear ivory. They're not understated. My clients have confidence. They're bold. They're bright. They're beautiful. They're shiny. My clothes are shiny. If I do green, I do Kelly green, like a bright, beautiful green. If I do purple, I do electric purple. It's not an understated brand. So because I'm so niche, is it niche or niche?
Either one works. Nietzsche is a philosopher.
Yeah.
Niche, I think.
Yeah.
Niche.
So
Yeah.
niche down to basically, I mean, I do men's clothes and young people buy my clothes all the time, but I'm specialized in over 40 women who have discerning tastes and want to be comfortable and look sexy and feminine. So the athletes of the world, they don't like my clothes. The people who go and play in shorts and a t-shirt, they're not going to buy my stuff. And I'm not trying to sell to them, not trying to be everything to everybody. So it's a very narrow lane that I work with.
Well, that's great. It's really nice that you're that focused and that you know your customer. And that's a really wonderful. It's nice to like learn about these origin stories about how, you know, you solved your own problem and then also built a business out of it. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, what's really, obviously the business is to make money, but the second most important thing for me is seeing people in my clothes. Sometimes I do team uniforms for an entire team. So they tell me what print or what color they want, and then all 20 women buy a couple outfits, and they're all matching each other, but it's their own artistic expression. It's so exciting, you know. I think it was last year for July 4th, they bought their team uniform and it was all like American flag type uniforms. They were so cute. We did, if I could find it for you to show you, but we did like a blue ruffle and then red, white, and blue flags on the skirt. And then underneath the skirt, the little shorties were red. So when you were serving, a little peak of red came through. I mean, how exciting is that to be able to, and when you're not motivated by needing to make, you know, if I needed to make $100 million, for instance, I'd have to run my company a certain way. I'd have to make large production with, you know, like millions of the same piece so that, you know, we could replicate it, et cetera, because it's very costly. Every time I make a new piece, I have to take a photograph of it. It has to go online. And if I only make 40 of them or 20 of them or 60 of them, that, you know, it's not replicatable for a very large company the way I'm running my business. But when you're motivated by having people have a very unique piece, one of 10, one of 20, and you love seeing people in your clothes and having something that's much more unique, then, you know, it's kind of a different way to run your company. But the most pleasure I get is women who are very shy sometimes and they come in, they're like, don't take a photo. They're very quiet and subdued. They put my tennis dress on and they're like, oh, you can take a photo for Instagram. And they start twirling around in my boutique and like posing for I mean, it just makes me so happy I could cry to see women feeling so comfortable and sexy in something that I created.
It just like turns their personality totally around, right? Yeah, that's wonderful.
It really makes me happy. I know that sounds crazy, but it really makes me happy. I have women that are too small for regular clothes, and I have women that are plus size, and they can't buy clothes off the rack. It just doesn't fit correctly, you know? And I have this one client who I love so much, and She, is large chested and she's a plus size woman, but she's, 5'3", 5'4". And so, I custom make all of her clothes for her, and she sends me photographs, and she constantly tells me how confident and feminine and beautiful she feels in my outfits when she's playing tennis. I mean, there's no better thing for me.
That's really amazing, actually. I never thought about how important it is to have something that fits correctly to feel good in your own skin. Like, because, I'm a white male, 6 feet tall, like everything fits me. It's not hard to find clothes, but I've never even thought like that the other side of that coin, right? Where you're constantly in clothes that don't fit you right. You constantly have to make alterations, and when things don't fit right, you don't feel nice, you don't feel right. Like it just ruins everything.
I think any professional athlete, if you ask them if they feel confident in what they're wearing, they walk onto the court, that mindset helps them win.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. So, I mean, so you've got this tennis boutique, where you're selling not only your own clothes, but other tennis things as well. A one-stop shop for all great things in tennis. And how has it been, having this boutique and then also being so active, actually playing tennis in the community here in Beverly Hills and Los Angeles?
Not just here. I play tournaments all over the world. I host tournaments for my clients all over the world, offshore, onshore. I have...
Do you do all this through the boutique? Is like the boutique like also like where you get people to like sign up for these events and stuff like that? Or like how are you running tournaments all around the world?
So the tournaments, I typically invite people that are already clients of mine because you're wearing my clothes in my tournaments, obviously. So it's part of the gig. So they're typically invitation only if they're 5 days or longer, because I'm very protective of people being nice to each other. Sometimes the sport and the competition can overwhelm people and they can not be kind to each other or make bad line calls or things like that. I'm very protective of my events. So yes, they're posted on lovelovetennis.com, my events. However, you cannot attend an event unless you are referred in by your tennis director or my previous clients. You have to come on the in for those type of events. You have to be interviewed by me. You can't just buy it.
That's such a Beverly Hills.
If you're in, you're in, but if you're not, you're not.
Yeah, I love that.
I host like 2-day tournaments. They're posted on lovelovetennis.com. Out of the boutique, we do stringing, and like you said, we have a full pro shop with Yonex and Babolat and Wilson and Head and all the top brands, Dunlop and Prince and everything. I have tennis shoes and socks and everything. But we also string rackets, custom stringing, but we also give lessons. So if someone's looking to come into the sport or they're looking to improve their game or they want their kids to go to college, I have a host of local tennis courts, private, in Beverly Hills and surrounding, and I have a host of coaches. And I pair the coach that's going to work best with that player. So the way that coaches teach is very unique to them. Mm-hmm. So I curate the experience. This is really fun. When people come into town, they ask their concierge, they want to play tennis or whatever. I curate experiences for them. They can play at a Beverly Hills tennis court. They can take a lesson with a Beverly Hills tennis coach. They can get outfitted for a custom golf, tennis, pickleball, some sort of sports outfit. I can make any type of sports outfit. I make custom outfits for golfers a lot. Or they can play with, if they want to play with John McEnroe, if they want to play with Brad Gilbert, if they want to, I curate experiences that are something that is special, memorable, and, or you can play at a very fancy tennis club that you don't have access to without.
And you have all the connections to make all these things happen.
Yes. Oh. I'm very blessed because I have a wonderful network of tennis coaches and tennis players and all of that, we know what it's like to be able to experience this wonderful world that we live in. We get to do every day with the palm trees all around us and the beautiful clubs, and we'll share it with others.
That's wild. So what's the most posh or most exclusive tennis club in Beverly Hills these days?
So
what's the hardest one to get into?
The hardest one. So, there's expensive is one thing, and then hard to get in is another thing. So Beverly Hills Tennis Club only has 200 members. And so that is the most kind of elite, but they only have 6 courts. So it's a tiny little club right here on Maple Drive. It's beautiful, tiny. Beverly Hills Tennis Club, by the way, on Maple has a wonderful woman as a tennis director called Ann White. And she's the pro that was known for wearing the white onesie to Wimbledon.
Oh, really?
Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Gosh, like it's not called a onesie. What do you guys call it? Jumpsuit?
Oh, yeah, jumpsuit, yeah. No, without the dress, like on the bottom, just a full one piece.
Yeah, the full. It was way before Serena Williams did it. And it was all white, and it was at Wimbledon, and she got told off for it, and was told not to wear that again.
Oh, really? Too revealing.
It was. I mean, she's very tall and very slender. It's beautiful. I actually have a picture on my phone right now. So, so the other elite clubs are just sort of outside of Beverly Hills. There's Hillcrest Country Club, there's Riviera Country Club, which is a fantastic club. There's Mulholland, there's Mountain Gates, there is Brentwood Country Club, Bel Air. So, but inside of Beverly Hills, Beverly Hills Tennis Club.
Okay. That's wild. These are places I've never been. I don't get around too much.
The most beautiful court in the world is up the hill in Beverly Hills.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where's that?
It's called the Goldstein Sheets Residence or Sheets Goldstein Residence, and I've been blessed to play on there as well for a charity tournament. And that is in a beautiful house, but it's an infinity tennis court where it looks like it drops off the hill.
Oh.
And you have a view of downtown, and you have a view of Beverly Hills.
Is that up in the Hollywood Hills?
It's right here in Beverly Hills.
Oh,
just the hill here.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's great. And it's at a private residence?
It's a private residence, but he does a lot of charity work, and he rents it out as well. But there's a lot of charity work. He has a estate person who kind of rents it out for things. You can Google Sheets Goldstein Residence tennis court, and the photos of it, it's an incredible view.
Oh, that's amazing. It's like a whole secret universe that's going on here that no one knows about, but you seem to have your finger on the pulse of everything.
Yes, it's a fantastic kind of group of people, and we're like a family. Everybody who plays tennis knows each other. We all, it's like it's a underground culture. Underground culture,
that's a good way to describe it. It's interesting because obviously with Conga and what Rich is trying to do, and I don't mean to bring him into your conversation, but he's really trying to reach the masses and build out like a real kind of backbone for amateur tennis in the entire United States. And we had a great conversation. He mentioned I should talk to you, which is why we connected. But it seems like what you're doing is way more niche, way more boutique, staying in your lane. Yeah.
It's the opposite of what he's doing, and I love what he's doing.
Yeah.
But we are literally at opposite ends of it.
Yeah. What you're doing is really cool, though. I mean, it's so nice that you're so connected into this space, but then you're also helping provide the tools for women and men to be comfortable, to look elegant, to have something that they can show off and be proud of, look good in, right, feel confident in, and then also facilitate the actual tennis and all these actual tennis experiences. Like your tennis from, I don't know what the right term, like, you can say, you run like the whole gamut of the tennis experience in this town.
So my app is coming out next week.
Oh, here we go. What's the app about?
So it's called Love Love Tennis, of course. It's a mobile application for Androids or Apples. So we're going to be testing it next week. So you're not going to be able to use it next week yet, but probably a few weeks away from it being live. It's going to have all of these things we talked about. It's going to have you can shop on it, boutique experience. There's a ladies' league that is just for women over 40 that belong to country clubs. So if I'm traveling to another state, I can go and play with 3 women that are a member of a country club, and they can come here and play with me at my country club. So usually when you travel somewhere, you can't play at the country club. The tennis coach there will not give you a lesson because you're not a member at the country club. So for instance, if I travel somewhere, I can't play there. Like at Wimbledon. Wimbledon is a tennis club, right? So during the season, during the Wimbledon tournament, which is happening July 1st to July 15th, of course you can't play there. But the other times of the year, you can play there. But you need to be invited by a member. So it opens up this league, that you can play against people. And I have a handicapping algorithm where you can play with 3 women that are all of different levels, and you get points for every set you play. I play one set with this woman, one set with this woman, and one set with this woman, and that's how I run my tournaments.
Wow.
So there's that. Then there's the men and women who want to play with each other across internationally that are members of country clubs. They get to connect as well. Then there's the experience of wanting to have a special experience with a famous person who plays tennis, or taking lessons, or a centralized place where all of these live balls and other ancillary tennis that people don't know about. For instance, in West Hollywood, there's Tenacity, which is a fantastic tennis program. They've got live balls all the time and for different levels, and it's super fun, and they're a great bunch of coaches, but it's not really being advertised anywhere. So if you know, you know, but if you don't know, you don't know. So that's going to be on.
You're making me want to get back into tennis.
Oh, it's so much fun. You're going to love it. But here's the biggest thing on the app. So in the last 5 years, have hosted about 20 singles events for people that are single who love tennis. So it's called Doubles for Singles. So I introduced them. So I grabbed like an age group.
So now you're matchmaking.
Yes. It's so much fun because I met my husband on the court. I would never have met Robert. Robert works at the airport. He's from Chicago. How would I have ever met him? There's no universe I would have met him if it wasn't for tennis. And how great is it to have a partner, a life partner that has the same hobby as you? So
having similar hobbies is a really great way to keep a partner around, instead of having to get rid of them every couple of years.
If you want to go on an adventure, and your partner goes, I don't want to go, and it's a 2-week thing or a 1-month thing, you're just going to go all the time, and then that's where problems happen because you're going, having fun with other groups of people that are loving the stuff you're loving. So,
causes ripples.
It does. So there's going to be like this tennis hookup situation that people can meet to play tennis, and hopefully if it's a love connection, my husband says it's the best place to meet a potential partner because you see what they're like character-wise. You see how they smell. You see how they respond to things.
Adversity.
Yes.
Do they throw rackets?
Exactly. Do they make bad line calls?
Yeah. All the red flags of a relationship can be found out during a tennis match.
2 hours.
Yeah. Maybe even less. If it's John McEnroe, first 5 minutes. We love you, John. We love you. You're an amazing. You brought color to the game.
Actually, he made tennis exciting to watch.
I agree. I ball boyed for him multiple times, and I'll tell you, I did singles with him. But the highlight of my ball boy career, and no one cares, but my mom loves this story, is he and Agassi played doubles 1 or 2 years, and they had the Nike matching outfits. Agassi had the long flowing hair. They were both talking, all the time. They're talking to each other. They're talking at the line judges, but the two of them just own the crowd. And it's amazing how the center court can come to life when you have two personalities like McEnroe and Agassi playing together, and just everyone just lights up, and it was just such an exciting place to be when they were both on the court together, not playing against each other.
Yeah, the energy of their passion and all of that, just it makes the crowd feel passionate too. It's very, when you catch something, what's it called?
I don't know. It's what, catching?
Contagious.
Yeah, very contagious. I think it is. Yeah. I mean, have you enjoyed this new series on Netflix, Breakpoint, the tennis stuff on Netflix? Have you watched any of it?
I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah. No.
I'm so embarrassed. I don't watch TV and I don't watch stuff. Yeah.
Oh, well, you're lucky. You're way ahead of the rest of us.
Gosh, I think it was about 14 years ago, I noticed that news and things were either making me upset, where I was visibly upset, or making me buy things I don't really need. I'm too susceptible. And so I just turned it off. And then now, of course, I go to the movies, and every once in a while I'll watch a movie on Netflix that I've decided to watch, but there's no commercials. But yeah, but what's funny about that is now I'm watching TikToks and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's exactly the same. I'm hearing all the news and I'm hearing all the what to shop, shopping and stuff.
TikTok is way more dangerous than anything you'll find on Netflix. Yeah.
Did you see it? Was it good?
I watch. I mean, I make TV shows, so I consume a lot of TV shows as well. It gives me a lot of ideas and stuff, and I love seeing what's new. But I love athletes. I love professional sports. I played basketball. I was interested in tennis at a young age. I played rugby as well. So I've been a sporting man my whole life, and the way Netflix, goes into explaining what happens to these athletes over the course of a season. Starting at Indian Wells, then going to Melbourne, then French Open, Wimbledon, and then the U.S. Open, which is Wimbledon.
Thank you.
And just the course, and how fragile these egos are, and how difficult they have to work, and the fitness and the injuries and everything like that. And I like it because they're not really focusing on Rafa and Djokovic and Federer, who's now retired, and Rafa probably soon, I think. But they're really focusing on like the next generation of young players. So they're really focusing on like Nick Kyrgios, for example, in Australia, who's a very lively character, and the American number one Tyler. I can't remember.
Fantastic.
He is, yeah, but I can't remember his last name at the moment. Someone will correct me. But I really like that they're focusing on like the next crop, and I like to see like the ups and downs of the athletes more than their performance on the court, because I in college, for example, we were traveling and playing every Friday, Saturday. So you train all week, you play Friday, Saturday, you win or lose, and no matter what happens, you have to come back Monday and start training again, and forget what happened last week, and then you have to gear up for this weekend. And it's the same. Like these men and women are playing tournaments every week somewhere in the world, and I love that they have. And there's only one winner in tennis, so you have like 60 players go into this tournament, 59 of them fucking lose and have to get over it right away and then start again. And one of them wins, has a trophy, celebrates, and then they have to forget it and start again. And I love that. Just it's such a ruthlessly difficult mental sport, and I love watching that Netflix series. So if you're bored, or I don't want to get you into it, but if you are bored, it's quite nice because it's around the industry you love.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it now that you said that. But I do think that it's time for you to do a similar series, but for the ladies' leagues. They're called ladies' weekday leagues because we have them all over the country. And each league is called something different. So in the West Side area, it's called West Side Tennis League, which is sort of the Los Angeles and surrounding, like Beverly Hills and surrounding areas. Then if you go to sort of Redondo Beach, Palos Verdes, that one's called Marine League. And then if you go down south further into Orange County and North Orange County, down to South Orange County, all the way down to like San Clemente, it's called PacSun. I think the drama and the interest of these women's doubles weekday leagues is something that would be a very exciting TV show.
Would these women want to be on television, having their lives poured out into the television audience? I mean, there's a certain level of privacy, right? Like when you're a professional athlete, you have to assume that a certain amount of privacy will be eroded over time, and people have an interest in your personal life. But for amateur athletes, a lot of them don't want to be on TV or for people to know who their husbands are or who their wives are, or if their children are famous, or there's a lot more privacy issues when it comes to people who aren't public figures.
Yeah. So the Beverly Hills Housewives is kind of like the non-tennis version of what I'm talking about.
Oh, that would be funny.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So actually, they do play tennis sometimes and things like that. And there's a very good tennis player who's on the Beverly Hills Housewives, I've heard sometimes. And she was, with Elvis Presley for years, and she plays out of Malibu Racket Club, and she's beautiful still and gorgeous. And she has one of my dresses, the Sandra Me in white, and she looks like an angel in it. And I mean, she can't be young because she dated Elvis Presley. So I don't know how old she is, but she's the most gorgeous woman. Linda Thompson is her name if you want to look her up. But not like that. Not like a reality series, but a drama that's written kind of like,
And everyone in the Beverly Hills Tennis Club was acting at some stage, probably. So
yeah, actually it is. There's only 200 members, but there are some actors there and lots of producers.
Yeah, there have to be, yeah.
Members there.
Yeah. The producers make the real money.
I have a writer friend who's also a tennis coach, and he's one of the funniest people you have ever met in your life. He teaches out of the park on La Cienega. Mm-hmm. So Beverly Hills has beautiful park facilities as well. There's La Cienega, it's called Beverly Hills Tennis, but it's a park. It's not a club. So you can book a court there anytime. It's very close by.
That's at Fountain and La Cienega, isn't it? So, well, like 1 block south of Santa Monica. I think I've driven past it.
Is it Wilshire or Santa Monica? I'm horrible with direction.
It's in between Wilshire and Santa Monica on Fountain, I think. And Fountain and
on La Cienega.
Going north-south?
It's in Beverly Hills.
Oh, okay.
It's in Beverly Hills on La Cienega. It's not far from Wilshire on La Cienega. So they have 2-hour free parking. It's a city court. And then you can book the court. I think if you're a non-resident, it's $12 an hour or something. And if you're a resident, it's 10 or whatever. But you can book the court. And so I lost my trail of thought.
Public courts, and I should play in the public courts.
Oh, no, he teaches there.
He teaches there in the public courts.
That's right. The gentleman who's an amazing writer and a stand-up comedian and stuff. So he's actually written a pilot. So we might need to talk about that.
I would love to have him on here. Yeah, just chatting with funny people is the best.
He is so funny, and he'll tell you fantastic stories about tennis players and stuff. And so yeah, I'm going to introduce you to him. He's fantastic. His name is David Feinberg.
Okay, David. Well, I'll follow up with you on that. So, I mean, what else keeps you busy in this town other than everything that keeps you busy around tennis?
Yeah, so other than that, I go to stand-up comedy shows a lot. I'm kind of obsessed with stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm. Who are you liking these days? Do you go to the comedy club?
I go to the comedy club.
Or the store, sorry, comedy store.
I go to the comedy store. I go to the Hermosa Beach one down there. But I go to the shows.
Mm-hmm.
I buy really good tickets. What I spend, travel, tennis number one spending, then travel, then comedy probably. So I just saw Netflix is a Joke did with Seinfeld and Gaffigan and I think Nate Bargatze and
John Mulaney was big. He was around LA quite a bit, doing quite a lot of stuff. He's a younger comedian.
I like him.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one was a cocaine addict, right?
Yeah, he had his baby Jay. He came out as a drug addict. That was fantastic.
And it shocked me that his story, because he's so clean cut and so
He had that great line. He's like, "Now my reputation's different."
Definitely is.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. That day, Sebastian Maniscalco was there, and
He's amazing.
I met him.
Mm-hmm.
Living right here on Doheny.
Oh.
He used to work at, what's this fantastic bar on Santa Monica called Dantana's?
I haven't been to Dantana's.
What?
I don't know. I don't go out much.
I've only been here since December as well, yeah. So, people who are athletes, you guys don't go drinking and things. That's the problem.
Yeah, a little. I drink at home if I want to drink, but I don't go out much because if someone wants to meet me somewhere and talk business or something, I'll go out and meet them. But if not, I'm happy to just chill out at home.
Literally less than 2 blocks, I think, from here.
Is it next to the Troubadour?
Yes, right next to it.
Oh, really? Okay. I got to check it out.
Sebastian Maniscalco worked there, and I used to live right here. So I walk there and have several drinks. So I met him when he was a waiter.
Oh, wow.
And he was funny then.
Yeah.
He is even funnier now.
He's hilarious. He's got this whole Italian big family bitterness to him that's just beautiful, isn't it?
Yes. But my favorite people that you asked about, they are very wrong, and I'm sure I'm going to upset people by saying who I love. But I think the best special ever recorded was Thoughts and Prayers by Anthony Jeselnik.
Mm-hmm. I love Jeselnik. Yeah.
He's in town here as well, so he's fantastic.
He's so politically incorrect. I love it so much.
So wrong.
Yeah.
I love Dave Chappelle.
Oh, Chappelle's the best.
Louis C.K. I love everything he does. He did a little short series
on Hulu. Yeah.
Boris and
yeah, I remember that. Boris and where him and his brother all run the bar, and he kills himself at the end or something. That was amazing.
I have watched it. I bought it directly from him. He's a genius because he produced stuff and he sold it directly. I bought his specials directly from him. Yeah. He's a genius, the guy. But everything he does, I love. Everything he does. I even watched, he did a new one recently with, they were all depressed and...
Did you see his Louis series on FX?
I never saw that.
It's fantastic.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I mean, he wrote it and produced it and directed it and was in it. And it's all just random, awkward connections with people in New York City. Just the strangest stuff that no one talks about. And it all kind of happened to him. And he's playing a stand-up comedian who is divorced with 2 kids, which is his real life. But him trying to fit back into society while working, while dealing with being a father. It's just so fucked up, and it's all just the most messed up things in his head, and it's really lovely.
I'm gonna watch that next.
So you do watch TV?
So it's very It's very...
You stay in your lane.
Yeah. I don't just let it hit me. I choose, I want to see this special. And, Joe Coy's fantastic.
Mhm.
Seinfeld's good. I go to Nate Bargatze. I just went to his special. I go to specials. I go to see them once they've perfected their craft for a year.
Yeah.
So
Ricky Gervais, Bill Burr.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about him. Oh my gosh, the last time I went to him, it was like $3,000. We sat. Yeah, it was because I wanted. He's fantastic. He's hilarious.
Yeah. You know they're rebooting The Office again?
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, he created The Office, right? So every time they reboot it, they have to pay him. So he did the British Office, and then they did the American Office with Steve Carell, and now they're rebooting it again. So more money for Ricky Gervais.
Who's going to be the main character this time?
I don't know who they're casting. I just read this recently. I mean, I'm a member of the Producers Guild here, so I see a lot of stuff coming by, and there's always like workshops and things like that. But I hear a lot of stuff, and they're rebooting The Office again.
Wow, I loved both of them.
Yes.
The English and the Americans. Yeah. I think he's a genius, Ricky Gervais.
So what's coming up for you for the next 6 to 12 months that we can all get excited about? Once people watch this wonderful conversation and learn more about you, what's coming through the pipeline?
Yeah, I'm. The app's going to be huge for me because I've been putting the events on hold a little bit while I've been finishing the app because the app is very complicated. It's a lot of organizing. Once the app is launched, adult tennis is never going to be the same.
This is interesting to me because you seem like, left brain, right brain, like you seem to have this real artistic flair to you where you're designing clothes and you're, crafting these experiences. But how do you then decide, who do you go to when you want to make an app? Like, who did you trust with this vision of an app? Like, you don't have to tell me the name of the company, but did you have a friend who introduced you to someone, or how did you even think of doing that?
We are living in the best time in human history. Human history. I have never produced a podcast before, but I have the same similar, I think, road equipment as you do. I have camera. I have everything. You can be an expert at anything because you can go to YouTube and you can watch tutorials. You can go to TikTok and you can watch tutorials. You can go on Upwork and you can hire people and you can see the reviews of everybody else who used them and do you like it or do you not like it. I really, really trust my gut. I am 50% my father, who is Mr. Logical and decision making, with his head. 50% my mother, she uses her heart. But when you combine those two things together, and I play tennis this way, and I chose my husband this way, and everything I do has that creative side to it, has the logical side to it. But in the end, I go down to my stomach and I make the decision from my gut. So I did interview some people, and when I hired somebody first, and he started working on it, and I thought he was great, and then I started realizing that he's not great, and so I moved on to a different group now, and so I saw their work about a month ago, and it looked good. So there were a couple bugs, so they've been working on the bugs, and it's coming out, and as long as everything goes well on the Google Play Store and the Apple and all of that, it's going to be wonderful. So once that's out, there's going to be about 3 months of getting all my pros on there with their calendars of the type of events we're going to start in this area, populating the calendar. And then it's going to be talking to the league ladies and getting members of fancy tennis clubs, because it's an elite ladies league, to join the league where you play one set with each partner, because that's going to have sectionals and nationals where we all meet up. So the top people in every area are going to meet up. And top people does not mean top players. It means top player in your division, which is very exciting, because sometimes when I run my tournaments, a beginner wins it, sometimes an intermediate wins it, and sometimes an advanced person wins it. Anybody could win the tournament. It's very exciting. We've leveled the court where it doesn't matter what level you are, you could win golds and diamonds. Am I wearing my earrings? No. Gold and diamond prizes. So
if I go to Love Tennis and download the app, and I can make a profile on the app, and then I can find a tennis pro in Beverly Hills and see their schedule and then book an appointment to learn how to play tennis?
Yes, there's going to be a membership fee. So the ladies' league includes the outfit, so it's a more expensive program, and then the
I want an outfit too.
you could the outfits would look good on you. There aren't many people who can carry off my clothes, the men's stuff, because there's I call it the cool mesh down the side, where it, as you're playing and moving, it lets air in. You would love it for the type of work that, the type of hobby you have.
Yeah, breathability is very important.
Yeah, whether you're filming or you're working out, as you move, it lets the air in, and it doesn't smell. And so it's a fantastic, but you can't have a big guts to wear my clothes because it's very fitted and sexy. It's not baggy,
I'll make sure I lay off the pizza.
Yeah, no pizza, no beer. So yeah, once you become a member of the app, then yes, you will have access to certain things. So depending on the level of membership gives you different access to different things. So the dating is one membership. The Ladies League is another membership. You have to be a member of a country club to join that league. You can't just join it.
Right, because if you can't reciprocate the being a guest or inviting a guest to play with you, then there's no point, right? Yeah. I don't belong to any country clubs. I need to work on that or something.
Yeah, we gotta get you.
I don't know though. I don't know if I think at this stage I'm a better golfer than I am a tennis player.
Yeah, Riviera Country Club's the place. I mean, I think the Open's going to be there next year. So it's internationally renowned. It's the most beautiful course. But we have Mountain Gate is a gorgeous golf course, gorgeous. And I like it because the fairways are wide, so I'm not a great golfer. I hit straight, but not very far.
Straight's the key. So you're doing great, yeah.
Straight's not the key when it takes 20 to get to the flag, though.
So sorry, I took you on a tangent. Back to the app. So you're going to have the Elite Female League, which comes with the country club membership and maybe even clothing. You're going to have the dating section where people can meet each other to play tennis, which is the ultimate way to find a partner, according to you. And then what else is on there?
And then there'll be the app that's like the International Tennis Players app. You don't need to be a member of a country club to join that one. That's just people who want to play tennis with other people from around the world. So when next time you go to Dubai, you'll be able to play tennis in Dubai with a local who will host you in a way that a friend would host you. So you go and you play and you have a drink or lunch afterwards and you get the experience with a local that lives there.
That's wild. That's fantastic. I mean, that's a great way to just travel and see the world.
There is no better way than to do it with a sport you love and to meet other people that also love the sport.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend here in LA, actually. He does ballroom dancing with his wife. And all they do, they don't even take vacations. All they do is they do like 4 tournaments around the world where they just dance together as a couple, and they're married, so it's fine. And they just go all around the world and have these different experiences in these dance competitions. So it's like you could almost do that with this tennis app. Like you could just travel the world playing tennis with friends who are also on the app and get like a local experience at a local club. I think it's lovely.
This is where I got the idea. My husband and I play a national husband and wife tournaments. There are 4 of them a year.
Sponsored by a divorce lawyer?
You're so smart. How do you know all these things?
I'm just making bad jokes. I apologize.
No, it's actually true. Many husbands and wives don't play very well together.
I believe it.
One person wants to boss the other one around, and the other one doesn't want to be bossed, is typically what happens.
Yeah.
So that is hilarious you knew that. That's kind of an inside thing that we know in tennis.
Well, I've been divorced, so I mean, that's helpful, right? I mean, I didn't play tennis with my ex-wife, but I've been divorced, yeah, so I know how things are hard.
Did you go adventure climbing? What happened?
No, she didn't make it out, but she's lovely, but we never got into competitive sports together, and I could assume that would cause a lot of friction if things weren't perfect or working well within your relationship.
Well, one of the reasons why my league that I do with the ladies, we switch partners, is because there's an element of politeness. You've just met me. You're very polite to me. I'm very polite to you. Sometimes if you play too much with the same people, that wall of politeness goes down. And that's not a good thing for a relationship.
It can get nasty.
Yeah, you speak to them in a way you would never speak to a stranger. And then people say to each other, wait a minute, I'm your wife or I'm your husband. You're speaking to me like that, but you're so nice to like the receptionist at the tennis club. That's where problems start happening, is people don't treat each other with the ultimate respect. Robert and I, when we met, I was 40, he was 42. we had all of these discussions. You know, we were older, we were mature, we were already who we are. We weren't going to change as a human being. You know, I'm very loud and extroverted, and he's very humble and sweet and quiet. So, you know, I said to him, look, people find me exciting, but, you know, in 1 year, 2 years, that he might, you know, they might be like, oh, could you please, why are you being so loud? And that's what happened to me in the past. And I realized, you know, I needed to be with someone who loves me the way I am and is going to continue to love me the way I am, not try and make me this like quiet person, you know. So
But does that, what version of you comes out on the tennis court? That's the real question, you know, like, because sometimes, you know, we can be sitting here having a lovely conversation, but you put me on a tennis court and I'll be John McEnroe, I'll be yelling at the ref or yelling at you or throwing my racket around, right? Or you know, you could be quiet as a mouse and you know, the Roger Federer, you know, perfect gentleman on the court. Like, you have no idea what's going to come out on the court.
yeah, you have to see it, because sometimes people don't even know themselves very well. And so the way they behave is sort of out of control or whatever. So
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had that conversation with your husband early.
yeah, and you know, it's grown us as a couple together, because, you know, I might say or do something that he misunderstands, but we talk about it. We don't just allow the grievance to grow. We don't allow that sort of stuff to happen. So it's kind of been interesting navigating around, because he knows me so well, but then sometimes on the tennis court, I might do something and he'll go, why are you doing that? So often what shows up when you play a competitive sport is your own insecurities, okay? So if I'm feeling delicate and let's say I double fault, I'm going to see something my husband does as negative, but it's because I'm being negative inside me. It's not what he's doing. So if I was feeling confident and my cup was overflowing with love and confidence and happiness, that same action that he did, I'm going to see it in a different light. So what I've realized now, I'm 50 years old now, 50. So what I've realized now is ultimate responsibility comes to me. When I'm having a bad experience on the court, such as I'm like, oh, that woman's making a bad line call, that woman's making a bad line call, I'm not in a good place myself. Because you hit the ball 80 times, 100 times, there's 100 points in a match. Oh, let her make it. Who gives it? You know what? So it's like, it's just 1 point or 2 points. Or let's say she's the worst line caller in the world. It's 5 points she's going to take off you. Who cares? You know what I mean? It's 5% of the match. What about the other 95% of the match? Okay. Plus, I don't have to hit close to the lines. I'm an advanced tennis player. I don't need to, I can hit wherever I want to hit. I don't have to hit right there where she could call it out, you know? So taking that responsibility back has been huge for me, having better relationships, not just with my husband, but with all of my doubles partners, with all of my clients. Just being like, why the aggravation or the anger or the judgment or the disappointments or the sadness, it's all coming from inside of here. I don't know if you've ever had a drink where you've been just a little bit buzzed and you feel really happy and everyone looks good looking and you feel so happy and nothing's changed in your environment, but you're just feeling amazing because your inside of you is feeling better. And so I've just become like 100% responsible for how I'm interpreting everything that's going on. So I have much more fun when I'm in a great place. And so when my head is thinking negative thoughts about my partner or the opponents or the tennis club or why is it so windy or why is it so sunny or whatever the complaint is, you know, I'm like, wow, why am I having such negative thoughts, you know? I have hands and eyes and legs and I'm on a tennis court dressed in a cute outfit.
That you designed?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just reframing it. So it's just for me an indication of something's wrong with me. So, you know, if I get upset with my husband now, I'm like, oh, it's not his fault. It's my fault. I'm getting upset with it. I'm the source of the upset. He's not the source of the upset. Because when I'm happy, he can't say or do anything to upset me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a nice perspective. I think you should write a book about how to play tennis with your husband and stay married. Could be a bestseller, I promise you.
What are we going to call it?
Relationships on and off the court. Maybe. Okay, so back to the app. So after the international connections and stuff like that, what else is going to be there for?
The dating, there's the ladies' league, there's the international. Mm-hmm. There's going to be the calendar where the pros can put their availability on. There's also tennis health. one of the things that doesn't get talked about is tennis health for people like me who play as we're older, we're heavier. I've learned a lot about how to treat tennis elbow, how to treat Achilles tendonitis, how to eat to lose fat, because I think we've been lied to a lot about carbohydrates and how good they are for you. And so, for me in my life, keto is the only way where I'm able to just drop fat and have clear brain and be faster on the court and be stronger and be more alert, more connected. And so not just me, but people like me who are experienced in either playing tennis or in nutrition or in physical therapy or doctors, people are going to post about that on my app. That's going to be accessible to everybody. You don't have to pay membership to have access to the knowledge that we have. And then...
That's amazing. You're going to put all that into one place.
Yeah, I want to connect with everybody who loves tennis in the world.
Yeah, well, you're doing it. And you're doing it from Beverly Hills, which is kind of cool.
Kind of cool. It's going to be the hub. And then with money that comes from the app, I want to build tennis courts. I want to build tennis courts in areas that there are currently not tennis courts, in areas where there are children that are not being given the opportunity to learn a sport and therefore not have the opportunity to maybe get out of the situation that they're in. Because if you have a sport that you're very good at, you can get scholarships, you can get sponsored, you can get all sorts of things. It opens up so many doors.
It's a vehicle to change your life.
It really is. And not just that, people who, I think New York Times wrote a big article about tennis is the sport that is the highest longevity sport. And so, and like I said, I have clients myself that are in their 80s and 90s that play tennis still. It's good for your mind, it's good for your body, it's good for perhaps college or sponsorships, or playing on tour is obviously a 1% or 0.001% thing, just like being an actor or whatever, but it's very difficult to do that sort of stuff, but it opens all sorts of other doors. And I feel like mentally, physically, spiritually, tennis is a sport that aligns those three things where you'll just be a winner in life if you're good at it.
Wow, that was beautiful. That should be a T-shirt. Tennis, be a winner for life. Be a winner at life. That's great. So, look, is there anything else you want to talk about? Like, I feel like we've had a really wonderful conversation. Is there anything else that you want to promote or discuss?
I love talking to tennis people. So if you love tennis, I do want you to contact me. I'm very available. I'm not, behind the scenes or whatever. I don't work in my shop usually. Next week, July 1st to July 6th for Wimbledon commencement, the first week of Wimbledon, I am working there with my husband the whole week.
Okay. I'll come by the shop. I'll come see you. That'd be lovely.
So we have the Love Lounge on the top floor where there's coffee and tea and, it's like a social lounge on the top floor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very fun. So that's happening. But yeah, please, get in touch with me. If you love tennis, you want to be involved in the app, or you want a new outfit, or you want to have better tennis health or play better tennis without another on-court lesson. I have a book called Heart and Rackets. It's really kind of designed for women's doubles. It's how I overcame some of the obstacles that I had playing doubles tennis, and just mental obstacles and things that I've learned along the way. So that was my second book. So you can also buy that.
That's great. And so just for anyone watching, where can we go to the website, the URL, Instagram? Where can people go to find everything that you're doing?
Yeah, so the website is lovelovetennis.com, and then the
and I'll put the URL in the on the podcast, and then I'll tag you and everything like that. But what's your Instagram?
Instagram is lovelovetennis90210.
Oh, that's classy. That's nice.
TikTok is lovelovetennis90210, and then Facebook is lovelovetennis, and I'm on Threads, I'm on Twitter. That's all lovelovetennis90210. But I want to just say one thing before we go. So I discovered this drink very recently.
Yeah. Oh, Celsius?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like these things too. They're quite tasty.
So they're from Costco. I buy them from Costco, and we have them in my boutique as well. But they have vitamins in them. They don't have any sugar. And so I've just restarted my healthy eating program today. And so I just want people to also buy this because it's so delicious. It's so good. No sugar, no carbs. And it got the B vitamins, which gives you energy and focus and makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And that was not a sponsored thing.
No, it's not a sponsored thing at all. But yeah, they have them at my gym, and I started drinking them after training and things like that, and I really like them. So they're not like Red Bull where it's too sugary and stuff like that. Like I find, and there's no caffeine in it either, which I really like because I stopped drinking coffee a while ago, and I just have one a day.
But you can't, I can't drink it at night because it does interrupt. I think it's the B vitamins, but it does interrupt my sleep if I drink it too late. So I do drink it before like 3.
Yeah, that's a nice little boost, vitamin boost for the evenings. Well, I mean, look, thank you so much for swinging by. Like, you're a powerhouse of energy and positivity, and I love the fact that you're building this app, which is just going to be like a one-stop shop for basically amateur tennis lovers everywhere. And I think it's just really lovely that you're so dedicated and obviously making a living with the boutique and being so involved, but also now helping other people connect and share that passion and love.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I manufacture everything in downtown Los Angeles, my jewelry, my bags, and my clothes. And just my team is very energetic and happy. And my brand is all hearts. And so everything's about love and kindness and sweetness. And we're just a beautiful community. So I feel very blessed to have been here with you today. And I hope you connect me to more tennis lovers around the world.
Yeah, I hope I want to share this with everyone, and then hopefully you can share it with your community as well, and we can bring in more people. I love talking to people about tennis and love people who are just doing interesting things, and we're so thankful that you came to. So now we can go to here, and you see this, and we have this split screen and now we can show people that you're actually in the same room with me. We can shake hands.
Okay.
And say thank you so much. We did not do this on Zoom. We're in the studio.
Oh yes, we're in the studio. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for swinging by.
We did a high five once, remember? In the middle of it, too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we fade to black.